And it is all about a case of making sure that you get your house in order. Here's the grid. Once again, it is a small grid, as I said earlier, but the racing earlier on in the first race was very much exemplary from the drivers, and really good to see that they've been keeping themselves at the best order possible. So it is David Girouche leading from pole position. Alexander Klugel will be alongside on the front row, and then we have got Matthias Schulte and Naim Bretag, Kenya Washington at the 5 strong. Naim Bretag, I don't think, is probably out on the circuit, as there's only 4 karts there, so following on from the incident earlier on, looks like we have lost Naim Bretag from the rest of today. And hopefully that is not for the remainder of the race weekend. So 4 drivers about to go into battle. So Girouche from Schulte and Washington to be in the assigned places. So Washington has to stay behind Matthias Schulte. Okay, out of the final corner, through into the tram lines. Revs rise. We go green. We are racing. And again, Matthias Schulte looking up the inside of Alexander Klugel. Kenyon Washington nearly got through. He has done. That gap, that opportunity for Kenyon Washington has just provided a big dividend if it was an amount of shares that he was selling on the stock exchange there. But that was a great bit of anticipation. Kenyon managing to get through and get himself up in 3rd position. Washington now ahead of what will be, so Alexander Klugel within within 1 corner, dropped from 2nd to 4th at the drop of a hat. So Girouche leading the way, but Matthias Schulte trying to close him down. Gap was 4 tenths. A little bit of a different line taken between Girouche and also Schulte through the first couple of corners, heading into turn 3 in particular, where Schulte was a little bit wider than Girouche, but trying to carry the momentum through. And now you can see that Schulte's got a good run. This is going down towards the hairpin on the far part of the circuit. And Schulte not close enough. They dropped Kenyon Washington ever so slightly on this particular occasion. But Schulte is trying to close on, and Schulte has been very, very close indeed to having some great success this season. He's really come along as a young driver. Been very impressed. Good to see his mum and dad, Michelle and Rudiger, are there with him. And Matthias has actually taken a 3rd place earlier on this year at Mulsanne. He has been in the top 5 for quite a bit of this season. Good set of consistency, but now he's gunning. He now knows his chance to shine is now, and David Girouche knows that the pressure cooker is being applied. The pressure is being applied by Schulte, and Schulte goes for the lead through into the hairpin. Girouche trying to power towards the outside of the corner, but I think Matthias Schulte has got it, and here comes Kenyon Washington up the inside. A little bit of a side pod clash between the pair, and it is a knees racing 1-2 with 4 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock. That was brilliant. Schulte and said, "Thank you very much. I'm going to go through there as well," but it was very, very quick and unceremoniously dispatched by David Girouche. And Kenyon Washington, if he gets a bit rambunctious like that, he's not making David Girouche very happy, is Kenyon Washington. Washington wants to get past, and Girouche is like saying, "Come on, let's just go after Schulte. Let's go after Schulte." Schulte has now got a gap, and that's what Schulte needed. Here comes Klugel up the inside of Washington through the hairpin, and Kenyon Washington better watch his a little bit here. The reason why I say this is because of the front bumper. The minute that front bumper gets stoved in, you get a 5-second time penalty, and that's not what Kenyon Washington wants, because the gap between all 4 drivers last time was 8.39 tenths of a second. It's just under 9 tenths. Jurush now back on the back bumper of Schulze. 3.5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap of this final qualifying heat of the season. And Schulze is trying to stay cool and calm. He's got to get in ahead and anticipate what Jurush is going to do as they head down into the hairpin once again. Jurush looking, Klugel is closing. Now, anyone might remember the clash between Alexander Klugel and Simon Mayer earlier on this season at Wackersdorf. Well, I think Klugel is trying to be a little bit safer here at the moment, because looking at the championship standings, Alexander Klugel actually has a very good chance of going runner-up in the championship, as that's a defensive move by Matthias Schulze on David Jurush going through turn 1, through the mini chicane into turn 3. And now Kenyon Washington back with them. 0.648 separated these 4 drivers. I did say it might be the smallest grid, but it's definitely one of the most entertaining, because it is absolutely close fought here at Wittgenborn. 2.5 minutes to go. You can see that the sun is starting to drop a little bit slightly here. Local times 5:17 p.m. here in Germany. And Klugel trying to go for the move. Here comes Jurush up the inside of Schulze. That's the move he wanted to do, and gets through. Nearly loses the back end. And Schulze and Washington get through on... it's Klugel and Washington get through on Schulze. So the minute 1 gets through, the floodgates open, and Jurush is back in the lead. 2 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. And Jurush now has to fend off Alexander Klugel. Klugel, whatever he does here this weekend, depending on what David Jurush does. Now, David Jurush is 39 points behind at this moment. And effectively, what he has done is Jurush has helped solidify his opportunity. Now, they're going to have to take drop scores into account, and Simon Mayer not attending here. There goes Washington up the inside of Schulze again. 0.690 was separating these 4 drivers. The gap's going to be probably more like 1.2 very, very shortly indeed, if they come through the final corner. So Jurush will lead them on to lap number 8. We've completed 7 laps in total of this 1.038 kilometre circuit. Gap now 1.4 seconds between first and last place. So Klugel still closing in on David Jurush. The gap was 0.2 of a second last time around. Kenyon Washington now in 3rd place. See if he can pull along with him Matthias Schulze, who was at one point leading the race itself. 48 seconds on the clock to go, plus an additional lap. David Jurush trying to hold off Alexander Klugel, but Klugel very deep into the braking zone, into the hairpin. And nearly got the lead there, but can he go through on this particular occasion? I don't think he will, because they've got 35 seconds on the clock remaining. And whilst they're battling away, Kenyon Washington and Matthias Schulze will start to close out of the final corner. 27 seconds as they cross the line once again. Alexander Klugel now goes for the inside move, and he's got it done. Through turn 1, Alexander Klugel and Jurush sideways in the Sodi kart. And he manages to get through, and he's now said to Jurush, right, okay, let's go. Let's just pull away from these guys. I don't want anything to do with this. And good thing is that Jurush is trying to oblige, but Jurush was sideways when Klugel went up the inside of him, and Jurush now returns the favour. Timer has hit 0 5 seconds ago, and Klugel now wants to try and get a victory, but Jurush wants to go into tomorrow on pole position. And here is Kenyon Washington. Washington looking to strike whilst the iron is hot. Can he he's in the ringside seat is Kenyon Washington. Remember last year at this circuit, he won 2 Micromax victories out of 5 races here at this very circuit in the finale last year. And he could be a threat right now, because with corners to go, the top 3 were covered by 3.5 tenths of a second. Jurush leads, Klugel 2nd, Washington in 3rd. We're going to head down to the hair. Who's going to have the best run? Looks like Washington's lost a little bit of time, but Klugel, can he go for it? He's gone for it. He's looked up the inside. And Jurush has instantly capitalised. But now Washington looked up the inside of Klugel, and he's just given him a little bit of an assist from behind, as Jurush has gone off as well. Kenyon Washington will cross in first ahead of Matthias Schulze, but I'm wondering whether that is going to be contested. but provisionally Kenyon Washington wins a race. There was a little bit of a bump from behind. We'll have to wait to see what the jury is out on that one. Cherush will not be happy. I'm sure that Kluger will not be happy. But Kenyon Washington provisionally wins Heat 2 by 0.3 of a second ahead of Matthias Schulze. Alexander Klugel in third, ahead of David Cherush, who finishes in fourth place.